What's up, folks? I'm Odd, by the way. Today we're going to be continuing on with our little redrawing of some of my old characters. This one is, I don't know if it's obvious, but he's kind of my obligatory apocalypse character, and that apocalypse story that you always have, which is quite timely. And I did actually redraw him recently, although I would like to get back to it, because this was exactly almost a year ago. I did this more than a year ago at this point. Wow. I did this about in March, I think, when lockdowns and stuff started, because I was just feeling a little bit helpless. And it's cool. Looking back at it, it's definitely not my worst, but it's not my favorite. And he was kind of that character that I like to draw for this, like, I don't know, Jekyll and Hyde situation. That type of character that it was like, well, for one, that was could be like associated with the song Radioactive by Imagine Dragons. That's how long ago this was. And like that confrontation song from the Jekyll and Hyde musical, which I've never seen. I have this tendency to get emotionally attached to musical songs from things that I've never seen. And that definitely was the case with Soren. And now the whole story is one of my newer ones. So this was maybe newer, being a bit of a stretch, obviously. But I started developing it in maybe like 2014. So it was when I was starting to get into a bit more of, I guess, my adult storytelling phase, you know? Which I never am, because I still kind of suck at, I don't want to say that, but I'm still obviously developing somehow my stories went, but I do remember in great detail how the story went, and I didn't really leave it or anything like that before. I'm just going to start drawing him. But before, what was I saying? I didn't really go away from this concept the same way that I did my other concepts, where it was like, oh, I grew up a little bit. I would still return to this story, I guess, but it was also just kind of one of those post-apocalyptic stories, you know? your obligatory post-apocalyptic story that you wrote when you were like a teenager that maybe had a cool concept, but like, especially now, it's not exactly something that I want to totally get into. And I have other stories that, like, have to deal with zombies and stuff like that. This one was, like, more Plague Dogs-esque, I guess, in that it was, like, humanity had, for the most part, destroyed itself, or just completely, really, via these micro-machines. Basically, like, were programmed to win this war that was going on. And they, like, once they ran out of things to kill, they became like this, not sentient, but like, I guess sort of, but like a hive mind. And they developed this sort of like disdain, really, for for humanity. I mean, not really, they just wanted to kill everything. That's what they were programmed to do. And so they started turning against humans. It's very like, oh, I don't know. What's that story with the rules of robotics and stuff like that? The one where it's like the robots are like, in order to protect humans, we need to kill humans. It's similar to that, but it's very, I don't know, there's a lot of malevolence to it, and it's a lot of like storytelling, like, warning of a dissonant future, because these humans were so obsessed with creating something that could destroy that they didn't think for a second that they were mainly programming it to destroy more and more humans. And now, like, the goal of the creatures is to destroy basically all life on Earth. And they've at this point developed kind of a sentience behind them. And in one of their efforts, one of their iterations, because they're also kind of like self-learning, they started taking over animals and stuff like that as a means to try and destroy creatures through that method. And one of them was the main character, who again I called Soren at the time, and he had been killed by like an explosion or something like that took apart half of his body. And the robots kind of put him back together, and they sort of made him more or less intelligent. Like, they fixed it, and then they added in like a little bit more sentience and stuff like that. So he's got almost a human mind and personality as compared to, like, I don't know, your average dog. And yeah, there were a bunch of they were like cybernetic dogs and stuff like that. One of them was another main character, and she was like this war Doberman. Super cool to think about and hell to draw. Of course, all the characters felt like they had these sort of convoluted designs. Part of the story that I wanted to have was that he kind of eventually convinces these machines to work with them, because it's like, do you really want to do what you were designed for? You know, and that kind of creates in the hive mind, and like, you know, they're at this point they've taken a sort of like the ones that have inhabited the main character's body have taken a sort of like personality to themselves, because that's how they control their body, and they for some reason decide to communicate. And so the main character Soren always has kind of like this dialogue with it. No joke, I think I did one of the more teenagery things was that I used to call the secondary personality Cheshire, because it looked like that he had this big grin. And I might actually look up a dog skull in a second, because I would like to draw that one part of his profile. Yeah, because like skulls, when you look at them, when they're revealed up to the cheekbone, it looks like they're smiling. So I was obviously trying to go for something kind of similar to that, and not like one half of his face was blown off and he covers it like Phantom of the Opera style, but like his alternate personality is kind of proud of the fact that it's all torn up and it likes to intimidate things, so it like reveals all of the scars and stuff like that, and it knows that also kind of messes with Soren's personality, really. I feel like I should change, like, if I were to bring this back, I would change his name, but I'm not sure to what. Still some like fleshy parts. It's all gross. Then it kind of like inhabits his eye. He's kind of dead on that other side. Ooh. But yeah, it was definitely one of those things that was very, very like angsty teenager years, but I still like it. You know, it's still one of those things that I'm kind of proud of. I just don't know if it'd be anything that I would write. But yeah, I made sure that I gave him this sort of paramedic jacket, because I always thought that it'd be cool to have him in some sort of jacket, but of course I never really could draw him that way when I didn't really know how to draw dogs to begin with. Kind of a spooky character concept, isn't it? So I wanted to branch out of my cuteness, but kind of back to the back on the regular stuff. I always drew his head so wide. It was because I was trying to fit in the gas masks, which are obviously not meant to fit dog proportions, and then I'm not incredibly great still at like proportioning out bullies. I mean, really just any size of a dog beyond like generic dog shape. And I don't know if I totally want it wrapped around him like this, or if like it feels like it'd be this isn't a realistic dog character by any means, but you know, it'd be easier for a dog to zip up a coat than to tie the arms around. I don't know. Where would they go? That's the question. This gas mask is useless. Like, just getting it out there. I know that it is. That's kind of the point, I guess. I think I also started designing this character around the time of that episode of Doctor Who, which is probably very obvious. Are you my mummy? The kid in the gas mask that was reformed by those like little medical drones, but like micro sized. Probably not accurate at all, but you know. I don't know how much we're going for accuracy at this point. Oh no, yeah, it's usually emblazed on the chest. We're good. It's emblazed on the chest in the front, and then big on the back. So that's kind of cool. Here, and it's on the right anyway. I did it good. And sort of. Like that. Looks nice. Yeah, I always thought it'd be cool to have it kind of billowed behind him like a cape, but that's not it's not what we're going for here, I guess. Oh no, there's not one in the middle. Oops. It's not a star. It is and it isn't. There. Okay. And then sort of. Glad I looked that up. References are friends. I'll move over. You can go away. I'll move over. To our human interpretation of him, which is going to be even more stereotypical. I don't know, you know, post-apocalyptic Phantom of the Opera. I think that's pretty cool. I haven't drawn a guy in a hot second, though. I think as I was thinking about this, I kind of envisioned him with, like, long hair and probably maybe an eye patch. So, like, he has just, like, your regular, like, not regular, but, like a debris mask, almost. The funky ones everyone is wearing these days. Triangle-shaped ones. A little bit less 3/4. Not all the way not, but, you know. I might just do a bust with him. It's cool. I don't know how much of a gas mask it is. I think it's a particle mask. This is the stuff that you wear, like, for a little bit while you're spray painting or something. Or putting up drywall. Which is his ears. We all know that that's the reality of masks these days. You just gotta... Makes it easier to draw a male character when you don't need to draw their face. And as I probably have to draw at least one of these with his little arm bone sticking out there. His muscles, he can be a bigger boy. It's really been a minute since I've drawn a guy. It doesn't look too bad though. Just need to figure out then how his face is. That head is huge actually. Make his body a little bigger. I was focused on the face first, which is probably a party foul on my part, because probably easier to do proportions when you're not focusing on one thing at a time. Looks okay. Now I really need to figure out the proportions of his face. Yeah, okay. Just making sure that, like, his eye hole is about the same size as, like, the dip in his eye and stuff like that, because that stuff does have places to lay on the skull. Like, there are muscles and stuff like that they can change shapes, but a lot of it is based off of the skeleton. Although, yeah, drawing a face or trying to draw a face on top of a skull is torture. Big props to like those forensic folks that have to reconstruct faces. Usually it's just through a program, isn't it? Well, it depends, doesn't it? I'll probably be mostly silent throughout this lining, so I will be back to talk about color. Okay, I think I'm back. I've been sitting here singing Annie songs in my head because I was considering like what other names that I could possibly give this character, and because it's like a dog and he uses his human given dog name, like he. Like, I was like, oh, he could do, I guess, like, he could be Sandy. He looks kind of like a Sandy when he's colored in. And then my brain is just sitting there like, Sandy. It's so just repetitive. And then every other Little Annie song started coming into my head. So, Little Annie? Annie. My little Orphan Annie, I guess, is the full, like, radio show or whatever, right? So when it comes to color, sort of, I mean, I know what he was. He was a tannish color. He was based off of a Staffy mix that my grandma had for a little while, or he looked very much like one at least. Finding that color is so hard. However, it's like a reddish, brownish. Oh, right, I forgot to invert this. Yeah, it looks too yellowy. Maybe that looks like that up a little bit more. A little more. Oh, it feels so close, but I don't want to mess with it more. That looks okay. Yeah? Okay. Let's just keep that for now. But yeah, he was tan and he had white spots all over him. Very kind of classic bully look, really. And I was thinking, even kind of similar, although it wasn't as... Oh, yeah, it's about the same color. There's bright blue EMT jackets, which are cool. They might be a little much for character design, so I'm thinking that maybe the black or navy blue ones would be cool. Somehow have something that matches his gas. The fun part is that I used to really dislike coloring, and like choosing new colors was such a pain, because I'd have to go in and fill everything in, and then I realized there are things you can do in Clip that are relatively simple that allow you to just go in and do that. Like, look at that. It makes my don't like coloring heart sing. I don't know why I don't like coloring. It's just always been my... I don't know if I've told this story yet, but when I was a little kid, my parents and I were sitting in this little diner, and I say this as my origin story of as to why I don't like coloring. But we were sitting there, it was an actual pizza place. And they were one of those ones that had, like, they'd set out Legos and coloring books for kids. And I was sitting there with my coloring book, and my parents were trying to show me how to better color within the lines. The phrase that they decided to use, unfortunately enough for them, was make your own line. And my baby brain took that as, oh, I make my lines. So... along, like, just instead of what they were trying to tell me to do, which was like this isn't the same color, but I'm just using it as an example, I did this, just sitting there saying, make my own lines. Even back then, I was such a dork. It's so, like, I guess just a smart ass. I mean, I didn't mean to be, obviously, but looking back at it, of course, I didn't think anything of it as a kid. He almost looks more like a service dog. I saw something that, like, in those, based a character off of it a long time ago. But, one thing that I feel like always interested me in, like, a character design, human or animal, was that in certain breed of, or not certain breed, in a certain kind of, cloned dogs, like, they actively do this, and these services still exist. They noticed that they take the DNA of a dog, most likely one that's died, and inject it into an egg, and then first they take out the ingredients from the mother, and and they inject this information into the egg and start up the fertilization process. And what they wind up with is a dog that is essentially identical to the animal that you lost. Very, very expensive. But they're born with yellow claws, like something in the melanin production or something like that belongs, or just messes up. So the only difference is that they're born with yellow claws. And I always thought that'd be interesting, like, I don't know, would a human that was cloned like that, if it was even possible, like, the same way at least, would they have, like, yellow fingernails, like, noticeably yellow fingernails or something like that? It was always a concept that vaguely interested me. I remember making this one creature that was, like, it was a clone of some ancient being or whatever, altered and all that. And it had yellow claws. What I'm going for here is that not all of these areas are actually bone. Some of them have muscle attached to them because I figured that it would be nice character design wise, you know, not that this face isn't beautiful, but I thought that it would be cool to have the character have some musculature still attached, so that A, everything is held together, and B, like, it can kind of express muscle there, and then, like, maybe something slightly lighter and fleshier here, whatever that is. Even lighter for the, like, gums, and then some bone. Like that. I think that that's cool. And yeah, I had his whole arm torn up here. I guess I could go in and, like, these are old wounds, even if they're still very prominent. Definitely doesn't perfectly cover all of this business, does it? The gas mask, you know, he tries his best. Oh gosh, I'm going silent again. I'm just focusing on some little aspects of character design, I guess. I wanted his eye to look a bit more unnaturally green. So when he was alive, at least in the original idea, they were brown, and then micro creatures kind of display themselves as either green or yellow. That's kind of badass, isn't it? I like that. Okay. Kind of like a little echo of it in here, but it's resting, so. Doesn't always work, but I do. I love this little tool. It's so great. It's, what is it? So you take your line art layer, and there's just going to be this little cross hair over your pen. That'll say set as reference layer. You put that on your pen layer. And then when you're going in with your fill bucket, go to refer multiple, and then you can click on that little same crosshairs pen situation. And so the bucket will refer to the lines too, but you're on a different layer. So you're not just putting in your color on the same layer. I think it's dope. Would it be the best bet to, I guess this isn't a zombie apocalypse, but to go around in a wasteland in a coat with reflectors on it? Probably not. He looks kind of like a ninja. Like a Naruto-style ninja. With a gas mask. They had gas masks in that show, right? It always weirdly went between almost futuristic and or modern era at least, and then kind of wanted a slightly lighter color on these areas. Yeah, there we go. Make it a little different. Still got Sandy stuck in my head, by the way. Still there. Just playing on repeat. It comes in handy. Help me. Oh, it's gonna be stuck in my head all night. Why am I saying this? Because on Thursday, even though I've already stopped suffering, now you get to suffer too. By the way, both of them are like Walking Dead. Like, there's no way that you would have these injuries and be alive. That's kind of part of the point. So, like, he's semi-zombie. Because the micro computers, whatever they are, micro drones, don't really care. And they're kind of like almost vain in a way. Because they would rather like show some of their handiwork, I guess. He looks kind of cool with gray hair too, doesn't he? That's not intentional. That's just filler. Alright. Look at that. Sorrel. Oh, you know what Sorrel is? That's right. She's the brownie from Dragon Rider. Could name him Sorrel. It's more of a, I guess it's more of a female character name, isn't it? Oh, wait. Mr. Smiley Face's eye. There we go. Alright. A little out of my comfort zone, I think. Something like this, you know? I've never... Well, I have, obviously. I made this character, but, like, I haven't gone back to, like, I don't know, more or less, like, also both anatomical and, like, kind of spooky design. I've just kind of gone in and embraced the cute lately. So it's an interesting challenge to kind of go in and, like, give me a second, kitty. Make something a little spooky, you know? I mean, it still kind of just looks like a cool character design. Like, it's not super scary. If you have a problem with slightly, I don't know, almost like Attack on Titan levels of musculature, bone showing, then it's probably not the thing for you. Probably put something regarding that in the video, but yeah, I think I'm done. That's cool. Let me sign this. So, dog form, recolor, redesign, before, after, human design, doggos. I think we're looking at improvement all around. Background color like that. Ugh, too bright. That. Yeah. Darker. Lighter. Yeah. Don't mind me. And then pièce de résistance. Alright, I'll leave this here. I actually finished something. Whoop, wait. I forgot to color underneath his jacket and that little strap. What color? Matching? No. Darker gray? Brown? Dude, that's an ugly brown. Ugly. Why am I panicking? That's almost the same color as the shirt. That'll do. There. Now, I will see y'all next time.